All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, looks like Square Enix is back in the news, and it's not for anything good. You know, this company, the same company that started off last year with $390 million of operating revenue, that has now dropped to a staggering slightly under $90 million of operating revenue. They lost $300 million of operating revenue due to two video games, Forspoken and Marvel's Avengers, and he decided, you know what? We're not losing enough money. We need to lose more money. None of us likes to make money. Well, apparently, Square Enix has just come out and said that they're going to do the laziest form of virtue signal that most Eastern companies or Japanese companies like to do, and that is removing the male and female character options from their upcoming Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake.
Ha! Gay!
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, now you guys really shouldn't be too shocked about this because let's be real, a lot of these games have been removing the male and female character option. I'm honestly surprised it took Square Enix so long. You even have Elden Ring or Dark Souls that remove the male and female option, and they give you body type A and body type B, which guess what? It's just male and female with a totally different name on it. But of course, they got to make the Wookiees feel good about themselves, even if it's this, right? This is the only thing that they usually want to do. They want to do the simplest form of virtue signal. For a lot of Eastern companies that don't want to get down with the gay shit, this is their way of getting down and getting at least some sort of ESG score instead of just going completely blank and essentially having the mafia come after them. So let's get into this article, guys, from That Park Place. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. A new report claims that Square Enix is removing the option for players to choose between male and female characters for their upcoming Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake. This report comes from Ryokutuya 2089, who claims via machine translation that the game has no distinction between male and female heroes. He knows that the characters are labeled A and B, with the A version appearing like a male hero, while the B version is a female hero. Oh my god, this is amazing, right? Talk about progression. Obviously, all the progressives out there must be super excited for this to happen, even though literally nothing changes physically. Everything is the exact same, but the only difference is now they feel more inclusive somehow by using letters instead of the old school classic gender terms, which every single sane person will still use, right? If you look at body type A, what are they going to say? Oh, that looks like a male. If you look at body type B, what are they going to say? Oh, that looks like a female. Nothing changes, but this is just a small, simple thing for companies that don't normally go into the ESG stuff heavily like some Western developers. This is a small, simple way for them to raise their score. You guys will probably be very shocked to find out how much a simple change like this actually affects their score overall and allows them to get more funding at the end of the year. You would be really surprised because I guarantee you it is a big change in the score, even doing something stupid like this. He even notes that the A version is voiced by male actor Hiyama Nobuyuki, while the B version is voiced by Minaguchi Yuko. On top of the main character having their sex removed from the character select, jobs will also no longer be distinguished by gender in name. So they're completely, basically making everything androgynous. They are removing all forms of gender terms and making it letters to make people feel better about themselves while they play the game that they were never going to play, right? Like, people who care about this stuff were not probably going to play this game in the first place. That usually happens like 8 or 9 times out of 10. So this one just falls on Square Enix. This one is about a company that is trying to maximize their ESG any way they possibly can while still staying to their roots of being essentially a Japanese developer. They are trying to do whatever they can to make that happen. Now, I think it's ridiculous that Square Enix is focusing on something like this, considering that they have lost so much money, and I mean an ungodly amount of money. This is not just a standard, crazy headline, right? You can call me a rage baiter, clickbaiter, all you want. There is no denying that Square Enix has lost an ungodly amount of money. And there's no denying that they lost that money due to the two games, which were Forspoken and Marvel's Avengers. If you want to say DEI was the reason those games were terrible, go ahead. If you want to say that bad gameplay, bad storytelling, bad whatever was the reason those games were terrible, go ahead, but it doesn't matter. Whatever your narrative in your mind is, it ultimately comes to the same conclusion that Square Enix does not have the money to fuck around and find out. That's just the facts. They already fucked around and found out twice. They don't have enough money to do it a third time. If they do it a third time, they are going to be in deep shit, and they're already in deep shit as it is. What are they doing? Like, why is this a focus? Why is this even on your mind when ultimately you should be thinking about making the best possible product you possibly can and hope that it gives you the money that you're looking for in order to continue doing more and more good products? Now, they did say they were going to focus on quality over quantity. I don't know if this game falls in that realm. I don't know if this game was already being made before that decision. Chances are it probably was. So this is probably the last little bit of games before they focus on a different avenue of other games, you know, with quality over quantity, whatever. I just think that this is not going to be something that is going to be super detrimental, only because as much as we hate to see this shit, this is everywhere. This is genuinely everywhere. The whole body type A, body type B nonsense has been around for a while. Even World of Warcraft went to this model because this is just an easy virtue signal. It is the simplest one to do by far. So if these companies are going to do anything to essentially try to garner some sort of ESG funding, I think this is the lesser of all evils when they change the body type stuff. But honestly, I just don't want to accept any of this shit. You know what I mean? Like, I know there's plenty of games out there that do it, but it's tiring, right? We know why you do it. There is no other reason why to do it other than for ESG funding. There is literally no difference. You don't even go in there and try to make it androgynous with the characters. You literally just changed the male and female to A and B. That's all you fucking did. And you did it in order to make people feel better about themselves, because apparently there's representation in being noted as a letter versus being noted as a gender term, right? It's just something that's easy, simple. They can do it, claim they did it, and move on with their lives and hope that they at least get the mafia off their back and they get some money for doing it. It was revealed back in 2019 that Square Enix has an ethics department, and this ethics department was the reason for why Tifa's chest was tightened in Final Fantasy VII Remake. The game's director, Tetsuya Nomura, revealed the department, telling Weekly Famitsu, "We wanted Tifa to have abs, so she now has more of an athletic body type." The ethics department at Square Enix also said we had to tighten her chest so it doesn't look unnatural during all this intensive fighting. Because of that, we added black thigh highs and a tank top. A Square Enix representative would explain the purpose of the ethics department to Polygon following Nomura's comments. In the Square Enix Japan studios, the ethics department is actually a group with the company that evaluates game content to make sure it is aligned with the anticipated age ratings standards across the globe. In that case, we want a new generation of gamers to experience Final Fantasy VII Remake and are working very closely with the company's internal experts to make sure all of the game's content is appropriate. This has nothing to do with age ratings, ladies and gentlemen. It really doesn't. We know that for a fact. This has to do with the simple fact that certain things are not considered safe horny, and they are almost always Eastern content, right? Eastern content is not considered safe horny because look at the way that they design their females. Their females are ultra feminine most of the time, right? Their men are usually somewhere in between, to be honest with you. A lot of anime, a lot of manga has been showcasing feminine style men, but if you look at a lot of Asian people, men in that obviously race of people is not super masculine to begin with, right? Asian men on the most part are not ultra masculine. A lot of them usually are pretty soft in comparison to westernized men, where we're just psychopaths over here. But still, they showcase women ultra feminine. That's just how they do it, and that's what they like. So unfortunately for them in the West, that's not what it's allowed, right? They want fat women. They want ugly women. They want a lot of non-white women, and they want you to have short hair with multicolored hair, and they want you to have nose rings, and they want you to have tattoos, and they want you to have wide jaws. They want you to have all this stuff so that trans women can feel better about themselves. So yeah, Eastern content is not considered safe horny, and unfortunately it is going to be heavily censored and heavily regulated, which is the entire reason why they have an ethics department to begin with. But that's besides the point. Ultimately, this A and B stuff, we've seen it before. We're going to keep seeing it as time goes on, and it is nothing but easy virtue signaling nonsense. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.